Am I the only one that calls these the pirate blacks? What's up, sneaker people? It's your boy FB Kicks and Gear, and we are back with part 2 of our 2024 refresh for the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Phantom. And as I've mentioned in the previous refresh videos, these videos serve as a check-in mostly, right? To see where we stand now with the current market of reps, and with the Travis Scott Jordan 1s being the most popular reps by far, I figured let's do it with those shoes and the ones that I have retail versions of. So this time we are following up with the Phantoms. The first refresh video I did before was a different batch, and it has different things going on for it that this pair does, so please check out that video as well. But if you want to see more images of this pair right here, please check out the Instagram account on the screen. You guys know how important it is to pay attention to the details when it comes to legit checking these shoes, and the Phantoms are probably the ones that you'll have to do that the most for, because they're so basic when it comes to their construction, but they're still legit checkable. So head over to that Instagram account on the screen and make sure you do your research. With that said, let's get into it. Generally, I start these videos with comparisons of the boxes, but I'm not going to waste time doing that in this refresh series because I've done it so many times in the previous videos. So if you want to know a little bit more about the box, and if you want to know a little bit more about the accessories that come inside the box, head over to my previous legit check guide videos. When it comes to the Phantoms, I go into depth in those. For this, the only thing you really need to know is that the embossing, debossing on the box sleeve are super deep, and you can feel them very easily on reps. They're very flat and they're not very prominent. So probably the easiest thing to do if you come across a pair of these shoes and you feel like there's something sus about them, feel the box cover. Easy as that. So let's get into the shoes. So we're back again with the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Phantoms, and as I mentioned in the previous video, these used to be at the bottom of my list when it comes to the Travis Scott Jordan 1s, and now they are second bottom on my list. The Canaries now have that bottom spot. That's not saying a lot. I think these look fine. I think the Canaries look fine, but they don't excite me the same way that the other releases do. So that didn't used to be a controversial thing to say, but now while these were going for about $550 when I bought them, they're now going for $1,000 plus, which absolutely crazy to me. And I know a lot of people that are kicking themselves because they didn't pick them up when they were that cheap, but it is what it is, right? You know, on to the next release. But with that said, let's get into the actual comparison. And honestly, when it comes to these shoes, the only real way to make a dent in legit checking is to study the way the materials look. And the materials for these are weird. We have a suede and a nubuck combination, right? For those that don't know, the hairy part is the suede, the flat part is the nubuck. But it's not just regular nubuck, right? Or I should say, it's not just regular suede and nubuck, it's a treated suede and nubuck. And what I mean by that is you can see throughout the shoe, like even where this kind of manufacturing flaw is, you can see that there's this flatness, right? A shiny flatness gloss to it. I believe that is wax, but I honestly can't really tell you what it is because I'm not in the factory. I don't know how they achieve it, but it almost mimics a waxed lace, right? You see how the wax laces have this like gloss shine to them? That's what this is like. And the nubuck and the suede around the shoe has that wax on it. Obviously, it's a little bit harder to tell on the nubuck because it's a lot more subtle of an effect, but there's a shine to it all the way around, and you can really see it here on the toe box, on the heel, all the way around the shoe. Now, reps have struggled with that for sure, but this rep right here, it has it. You can see the wax all the way around. You can see it on the heel, and you can even see it ever so slightly on the nubuck as well. And side by side, you can see that it's there. What you will notice is the tonal differences in the black of the authentic pair compared to the rep. And it's really hard for me to describe, but from what I've seen, where the reps, especially on these side panels, tend to be a faded grayish black, the authentic pair just seems to be a darker, deeper black. And even with the differences in tones and everything like that, you see that across the board. Reps, the difference between reps, and it's probably the easiest way for me to describe it, authentic pairs, while it's all black, it looks and feels like every single nubuck piece that's on here is pulled off of a different piece of a different roll of material, right? You see how this black is different from this black, which is different from the toe box black, which is different from this panel black, which is different from, the reverse swoosh black, right? They all have subtle, slight differences, and it's the same on both shoes, right? Now, that doesn't seem to be the case for reps. The reps seem to pull their nubuck from one continuous, even piece. And there is not nearly as much contrast between the different blacks as there is on the authentic. You do get some contrast though. You can see that the black of this reverse swoosh is definitely a little bit different than the black of the side panel here. But overall, you do not see nearly as much contrast on the replica pairs as you do on the authentic pairs. So even though you do get the wax effect, they actually did match that. It's just not the same effect, if that makes sense. I get chalkboard feel from the rep pair and just patchwork from the authentic. So it's really hard to describe, but that is what it is. One of the things that I didn't look at in the previous video that I should have looked at is the embroidery on the B. I'm not going to really dig deep into how different they are, but I'll give you this image so that you guys can study. Obviously, the authentic pair here is on the left, rep on the right. So you guys take a look at that for your own references. And here are the different Wings logos. But with that said, let's go into the small details that I like to look at when it comes to legit checking. And the first place that starts is with the Nike Air tongue. And the difference between the rep and the authentic pair is that the authentic pair has a gray off-white Nike Air, while the rep pair is just a plain white stitch. Hopefully you guys can see that with the lighting, but the rep just matches the theme of the rest of the shoe, which is black and white, but the authentic pair uses a gray Nike Air. While we have the tongues out like this, you can see the Cactus Jack tag comparison. Generally, the reps tend to be a little bit more vibrant with the red of the Cactus Jack. Looks like the rep is just a more vibrant, deeper red. From there, one of the things that I'm noticing is that the sock liner is definitely a lot more tame on the rep than it is on the authentic pair. Keep in mind, my authentic pair is still brand new dead stock, right? So it comes this fluffy outside of the factory. The rep is just a lot more tame and close cut. Almost looks like someone took some clippers and shaved it down. So I would not expect to see this on an authentic pair at all. From there, we'll take a look at the laces because those tend to be a source of difference. We have the black laces, obviously. One of the things that I'm noticing on the rep lace is that almost the black lace on the rep pair almost looks like a very dark navy blue, and it's thinner than the authentic. When we take out the others though, the red laces, they always tend to be tonal differences between the rep laces for the red laces of the rep compared to the authentic, and that is the case here. It looks like a darker red on the rep. And when it comes to these checkered laces, the reps tend to be a brighter white on the checkered pattern when the authentic pair is actually a bit more cream. I'd say that they're very close here. I'm not seeing any real noticeable differences. And because there isn't really a lot to talk about when it comes to these shoes, I'll pull out the insole just to show you. There's usually one solid, legit checking indicator on the insole that I like to see. And outside of color differences, which they have, you can see that the backdrop of the Rep looks a lot more navy blue than it does black. And the Nike Airs are different colors. Usually, the telltale sign when you're looking at the insole is look at the hair of the Cactus Jack face on the insole and notice how much more wiry and thin it is on the authentic pair compared to the Rep. Look at how blotchy and blocky that hair is. Fairly easy to legit check this, and it's a sleeper if all of the other stuff fail. So honestly, that's all it really comes down to when it comes to these shoes. So I'm not going to do a blacklight test because I've done that in previous videos, and you can see all of that work in the videos that I've released in the past. But with that said, guys, remember you can see more images of the replica pair on the Instagram account that's going to pop up on the screen. Do your research, do your due diligence so that you don't end up getting ripped off. But with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.